Welcome to Care Smarts on Air, a home care podcast. I am Ruby Mehta, VP Sales at Care Smarts. Technology is revolutionizing how we support and connect with the elderly in home care settings. Communication tools like video chat platforms bridge geographical distances, allowing families and friends to stay virtually connected with their loved ones. This fosters a sense of closeness and combats feelings of isolation, which can be a major concern for seniors. Wearable devices can monitor vital signs and detect emergencies, providing peace of mind in both caregivers and families. Smart home technology with voice activated assistants empowers seniors to manage daily tasks like adjusting thermostats or turning on lights, promoting independence and safety. Further, telehealth advancements enable remote consultation with doctors, reducing unnecessary hospital visits and offering convenient access to healthcare. Communication platforms can also connect homebound seniors with peers, for fostering social interactions and combating loneliness. Technology empowers caregivers too, with apps streamlining scheduling, communication, and medication management. Overall, technology acts as a powerful tool to enhance communication, improve care delivery, and ensures a higher quality of life for seniors receiving home care. Today, we have Bob Roth on the panel, who's the managing partner at Cypress HomeCare Solutions that offers personalized senior care through a wide range of home care services, allowing the elderly to live safely and independently in their homes or communities. Welcome to the podcast, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ruby. Thank you so much for having me on today. I do apologize. I'm getting my messages that come through, so I will try not to let that interrupt us. But I really appreciate being on your podcast here today to talk about something that's really important to all of us, and that is how do we embrace innovation and technology in the new paradigm that we're in. A lot has changed, especially since the great pandemic that we just came off of. 4 or 5 years, it's been like lightning years. I mean, they've gone really fast. So happy to talk to you today about how we're utilizing technology and innovating the way we're delivering care.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's correct. Post-pandemic, things have changed. Technology has really helped many businesses, let alone home care. Many businesses really operate efficiently, and people have learned the real meaning of remote working, honestly speaking. So yeah, that's been a great contributor. So my first, I think, question is on technology, obviously. What are the specific ways in which technology can be used to improve communication and daily life for seniors receiving care at home?
Ruby, I think first we need to really talk about how and again, we've been doing this for 30 years. So the care recipient demographics have changed over that time. The number of silent and GI generation clients that we're serving is dwindling. So more and more we're caring for boomers, and we're communicating with our clients that are boomers, and certainly communicating with the children of these folks that are, whether they're Gen X, whether they're millennials, they're all adept to technology, more so than they were 20 years ago. So having people adapt to technology and comfortable with technology is something that's really good to be able to have these type of communication channels. But we also need to be mindful that we are providing care and we're delivering a person-centered, care plan, and we're very, intentional in the way we deliver care. So with that being said, we can use technology, and I'm going to share with you some of the ways we're doing it at Cypress HomeCare Solutions. But at the same time, I like to say, and it's not my quote, but technology makes things possible. It's humans that make things happen. And we need to still remain human with our clients, and certainly more importantly, with the caregivers that are serving our clients. So some of the things we're doing at Cypress as it relates to technology is that we're utilizing it with inside our enterprise software solution, which you guys have one as well, which we have a family portal. So there's a lot of information inside that family portal that allows consumers, both family members and maybe they've opened it up to advisors or professionals like doctors to view and see what's going on. So they can see schedules, they can pay their bills that way, and they can see the daily notes, which is really important, especially when you're talking about people that live on either sides of the coast, or in some cases, we have people that are caring for loved ones that live abroad. So sometimes it's really hard with time zones, but they can see that type of activity. The other thing that we've done, and we've really recently added this to our portfolio of offerings, is we've embraced some innovation inside the home. More specifically, everyone knows about artificial intelligence, and certainly if you've not played with ChatGPT or any OpenAI type products, you should, because that is our future.
Yeah.
So one of the companies that we've embraced is a virtual care assistant, and that is brought to us by Sensi AI. And Sensi AI is a company that provides acoustic devices that are in the home that are obviously listening, but more importantly, they're studying patterns. And you know this, Ruby, as much as anyone else, and our listeners probably know this too. With artificial intelligence, you have to establish patterns, and then you're looking for changes in those patterns and what disruptions are happening so that you can discern whether there's an event about to happen, right? Our goal is to predict and prevent a medical event from happening. And utilizing tools like this is going to enable people to be able to stay at home much longer. So we've been partnered with Sensei for over a year now, and we've averted a couple of visits to the ER. We've averted a UTI, actually more than one UTI. We've averted medication mismanagement. So there's a number of different things that we've averted and been able to keep that client that we're serving as comfortable as possible in their home. So that's one of the technologies that we've embraced. The other one is telehealth. And we have obviously, again, the pandemic to thank for that. Roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of the mid 20%, low 20% of physicians were using telehealth pre-pandemic, and now the number's north of 70%. And we're utilizing it in home care. We partnered with a company called Pocket RN, a really great company that was born out of the University of Stanford. I think it's called the Healthcare Accelerator. Jenna Morgenstern Gaines is one of the co-founders, and she's someone that I've partnered with, and Nancy Gillette over there, and Sam, the other co-founder. And we're arming our caregivers and our families with these telehealth solutions, more specifically, and I love the name Pocket RN. It's to have a nurse in your pocket. And why do we want a nurse in our pocket? One, we need to understand what our lane is. And when you're in, and I don't want to go off on a whole dissertation on this, but I'm not a real big fan of the nomenclature that we've been given to describe our industry as non-medical. Because
Yeah.
non-medical tells the world what you're not. It doesn't tell the world what you are. But when you are in, and I prefer to say, an in-home supportive service company. So we're an in-home supportive service agency supporting our clients with activities of daily living. We have to understand that we don't cross that line on the clinical side. Many home care companies do, and they should not, because they're going to put both the client and the caregiver at risk. So it's really important to really understand those lines of demarcation. And for us, when we see a change in condition, we can dial up a nurse. And that nurse can be up on the phone in less than 3 minutes. We can discern what's going on and be able to avoid an event from happening. And we have Dispatch Health here. So Dispatch Health has been called out a number of different times with our clients, and we've been able to remedy the situation and keep them comfortable in their home and not go to an urgent care or ER visit. The nice thing also about Pocket RN is you get a nurse for life for the client, and that client has that nurse for life And if they're going to the ER, or they're going to their primary care, or they're going to a specialist like a cardiologist or urologist, they can schedule that nurse to be with them in the exam room. So that nurse can be another set of eyes and ears, asking questions when family members can't be there. They can be taking notes. They can also make sure that the care plan that we have created is revised to be able to add or eliminate things that that physician has offered to us. So those are really two of the ways that we're really embracing technology and innovation, and really to improve the daily life of clients, to be able to safeguard them and keep them at home.
Yeah, yeah. Those are really interesting apps that you're talking about, Bob. I'm sure our listeners would really benefit from those insights. That's great.
And the only other thing I want to add is with technology, we did partner with a training company, and there are many of training companies here, and I'm not here to promote any of the companies I've shared with you, whether it be Sensi, Pocket RN, the other one's Navan, which happens to be in your backyard.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
James.
so James, Jamie and I go back a few years. I love the guy because the guy was an operator, and the guy understands what we are
Yeah.
needing. So what's really cool about the technology piece is that we together with them, because we pulled down a grant here in our state for our state's Medicaid, Jamie has taken his training modules and taken them down in small bites, small packets, so that if you need a real quick refresher on how to do a Hoyer lift, or how to do a high lifter transfer, or working with a patient with dementia, that is available not only to our caregivers, but it's also available to the families too. So that's another technological device or technology that we've introduced to the offerings that we offer at Cypress. And I do want to say this, and for the listeners to the show, our cost of our services are so expensive. They really are. And these are all meant to safeguard our clients and keep them at home for as long as they can stay at home. So we've decided as a company over a year ago to not charge for these things. We're paying for them.
Mhm.
So the cost for Pocket RN, the cost for Sensi, the cost for Navan is all being borne by us. We're taking that on, and we're delivering to our community, as I like to describe, a new model of care. We're reimagining home care and delivering a new model of care with these technological innovations that will safeguard that person we're caring for.
That's really interesting. And that brings my next thought here and question. Since I don't know how long ago you implemented, or were they all together or one by one, but you have implemented all these technologies. How did you make sure that your clients and your caregivers, they're comfortable with technology? And the main thing about technology is it's only useful when people adapt it, when people use it effectively. So how did you ensure the usability, the comfort, and the openness to use technology?
Well, let's talk about the artificial intelligence with Sensi, who
Mhm.
is using these listening devices. So they have evolved their devices, and I'm going to tell you, it's really hard. And there were so many other companies before them that have pitched me their remote monitoring type services. And the
Yeah.
challenge I have is that I don't have a technician that I'm employing that can go out to the homes and install all of these. I'm taking my nurse care coordinator and asking her to go out, and have another care coordinator to go out and install these devices as a supplement to the care that we're providing. That is really hard when you don't have a technology background. So Sensi has created a new version of their devices where they really are plug and play. You
Mhm.
plug three of these units throughout the house, usually high traffic areas, and you connect a router, and you just wait for the lights to go on. There's no using your devices. I mean, really, it's that simple to do. So we have to keep it simple, not only for our own people, but for the clients we serve. So the devices now are plugged into the socket, the electrical socket, like a call it a Glade air freshener. They're really not that much bigger than that. So they're discreetly around, and we want to put the router in a very discreet place too. We typically want to put it near the television or entertainment center there is, so it's not obtrusive, and the consumer that is having this device in their home isn't looking at that and saying, what is that black thing? So, we try to make that very obscure and seamless as possible to the consumer. So there's not really a whole lot of education that we really need to do on the artificial intelligence, really wrapping around that service in the home. But on the other end, the Pocket RN, I think, and as I opened up, I mean, the people that we're serving and the family members, they're of a generation that really understands these devices. So there's not really a whole lot of teaching. It's just, push the app, open up the app, wait 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes before the nurse comes on, and you're on. So the technology, we have to keep it really simple. Keep it
Yeah.
simple for our staff, and each one of us, we're trying to figure out how to do more with less. So we don't want our nurses or our care coordinators or our social workers to be techno savvy. We want to make it as easy as possible. So we did a real simple training in our office, and now my team's able to implement those into the field.
Yeah, that's really great. Simplicity is the key in technology. Now you see with AI especially, you talk about Chat GPT or any other tools, they are so simple. You don't even need, nobody trains you to use such tools.
Wow.
They're that simple. So
I,
absolutely.
literally 3 or 4 months ago, I wrote a job description, and I free-formed all the information in there. And I took pieces and parts from some of the other job descriptions that I had,
Yeah.
and it came out beautiful. I mean, it was about 75% right. And then I
Yeah.
tweaked it. I mean, but it was formatted, it looked really good. I'm using that also for a lot of my LinkedIn posts. So,
Mm-hmm.
I really think that, ChatGPT, if you direct it and tell it what you want to say, what's really cool is the emojis. You tell it to add emojis, because
Yeah.
hunting and pecking emojis are really hard. So, uh,
Yeah.
I think that we can use artificial intelligence in really great ways. And, we're talking about consumers and the delivery of care in the home. Maybe I'll come back and do a podcast and talk about how we're using artificial intelligence to improve workflow.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much we have improved onboarding caregivers utilizing artificial intelligence to really help smooth out that funnel and bring in caregivers on. I think there are great ways for us to do that. In delivering care, I don't think we're going to see it in my lifetime, robots. You may see it in yours, but I didn't see that. But using AI for workflow makes so much sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And these days I am in sales, so I get to see a lot of sales automation tools and AI tools that help that claim to help really close deals faster and efficient, and some of them are really good. So really good. So I truly encourage people to try out whatever tool that works for you, but there are so many out there.
The only thing I'll add, Ruby, is that we can never lose this, the human
Human,
piece.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and 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 I think it may work in other industries, but home care is such a personal experience.
right,
It
right.
is it's such a one-on-one. I mean, look, when a consumer care recipient opens up the door to their home, they open their life to a caregiver. And they really do. It's not, to AI. They are opening up to a caregiver, another human. And
Right.
we all know about social isolation. We know what it's done to older adults.
Yeah,
And we don't want older adults to be, even Zooming like you and I are today, we want that human interaction. I mean, babies get touched over 100 times a day. And there's some older adults that may not have human contact at all during the week. It may even be 2 or 3 weeks. We
Yeah,
need that. We need that hug. We need the handshake. We need the hand on the shoulder.
yeah,
Never, ever lose sight. Don't let the machines take over for that because humans need humans.
absolutely. I can't agree more. Yeah, but then on the other hand, without losing that human touch, on the other hand, there is definitely an efficient way where you can use technology and AI to reduce your manual work and focus on really things that matter. For example, meeting with your clients. Go ahead, meet with your clients. AI will take care of your whatever work that can happen on your computer. So,
100%. And the great thing about ChatGPT and some of these others is you can do text to voice and or
yeah,
voice to text
yeah,
and then have it summarized. I mean, the beautiful thing, and like I said, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of details on the workflow,
yeah,
but our first encounter with a caregiver is just like you and I are today. It is a digital encounter with very specific questions that are asked. And AI is able to transcript it. And we've already put in the summary, the areas that we want to highlight for artificial intelligence to look for. And that's encapsulated in a summary too. And the company that we're using to do this, Hello Hire, has built an API to our enterprise software solution. So now it populates into my caregiver profile. So the beautiful thing about this, Ruby, is that, look, caregivers aren't perfect. They are special. They really are. And they have a gift. And that gift is they care. And we're not talking about IBM salespeople. We're not talking about grocery store checkers, but they also sometimes make errors in judgment.
yeah.
And that happens. We're all human. We're flawed. But when something happens that's somewhat egregious, how cool is it now that I can go back into my caregiver profile, my enterprise software solution, and let's say you're that caregiver, Ruby. I can go and click on that interview and I can say, okay, what did we miss? How did this happen? Because we have to learn. I mean, we have to learn that we can get better. And to me, having that ability and having that in that caregiver's profile is amazing. It's so futuristic. It's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about technology here, Bob, since you have implemented technology and we have technology, we are working in a technology company, so there is technology all over. But in home care or healthcare space specific, there is that data security and personal information that we need to keep in a secured way. How do you ensure that that's not compromised when you are implementing technology? What are
Well,
your measures that you want to tell people?
well, first of all, the technology companies have to be HIPAA compliant, and they have to validate that for us to allow us to know that because privacy is so important. I mean, health information privacy is something that we take very seriously. The nice thing about living here in Scottsdale, Ruby, is that this is a destination for a lot of people. Over the last 30 years, I've had a chance to take care of some very prominent, very, people that you would know. The one of them happened to be someone that was worldwide known back in the 70s and 80s, and I had a chance to care for this individual. So really important to really have that understanding between the caregiver and us that, hey, you're caring for this high profile person. This is very private. This is not for information to get out to anybody that we're caring for this individual. So it's really important that, we have within our own company, we have a non-disclosure and confidentiality, and it specifically states that our caregivers sign that they are not permitted to talk about any of our clients to anyone outside of our company. Internally, we use initials. We don't use first initial and last name. We don't use first name and last initial. We just use initials.
Mhm.
And we use initials, and that is how we communicate. We don't use the person's name because you never know who's going to be listening.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about individuals, we really need to be able to keep the privacy, and that's really important. I had someone come into our industry that was in the healthcare space, and they said to me, "Hey, Bob, this would be really great." He used to work for hospice. He said, when you're caring for somebody, how, roofers are working on the roof, or you're getting a pool dug, or, they put up a sign in your yard, kind of like a real estate sign. Why don't we put Cypress signs up there? And I'm like, no. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, because people don't want to know that their health is failing and they need help.
Yeah.
A lot of home care companies, and I'm not here to knock them, a lot of them are putting their caregivers in scrubs.
Mm.
We've made a very concerted effort not to. There was a day almost 20 years ago where we allowed caregivers. It wasn't a requirement, but I got too many calls from my clients saying, would you please tell the caregiver not to wear scrubs? Because when they take them out to restaurants, to the symphony, to wherever their appointment is, to the country club, they don't want people to know that they're receiving care. They want that image that this is my friend, this is my daughter, this is my son, this is my granddaughter. We have to respect that privacy.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important that whoever you're working with starts with your enterprise software solution, and
Mhm.
then it goes to all your bolt-on solutions, like the ones I've shared with you.
Yeah.
Sensi, Navan, Pocket RN. I mean, all of them have HIPAA compliance rules that they follow. So it's imperative, especially because we want to protect that information, especially when you may have someone high profile that's in your client list. You don't want that to get out.
Yeah.
They don't want it to get out.
Yeah, I really like the way you said, or actually your staff uses initials instead of names. I mean, that kind of privacy we're talking about.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important. It really is. Now, obviously, any communications that we have internally through our enterprise software solution, or through, we're big software, or should I say Microsoft users. So, Teams is the platform we use. We prefer Teams.
Yeah.
We've tried Slack, and we've tried a couple others, but Teams is all encapsulating. So, in those environments, we're having free
Yeah.
communications.
Yeah.
But we don't want anything, like whether it be an email, a text message.
Mhm.
Uh, we don't want a conversation to be listened in on, and for
Yeah.
someone to.
Yeah. Especially with AI and technology, and everyone says that your phone is listening, your Google device is listening, or whatever is listening all day long.
They are. It's
They
so
are.
true. I mean, I can't begin to tell you some of the stuff that my wife has talked about or purchased, and it shows up on my phone, not hers, and it's crazy.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, it
I need to
is.
learn how to turn off some of those things.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So in the coming years, Bob, what exciting technological advancements do you see impacting home care?
Wow. Well, you know what? It's changing so fast.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Ruby, it's really a great time that we're in right now. I think we're seeing change at such a rapid rate. I mean, just think about where we came from 2019 to 2024, and we're almost halfway through 2024. The World Economic Forum has said that we are now in the fourth industrial revolution. It began right at 2019 when COVID-19 happened, and it's going to run to about 2050. And the changes that are going to be brought on are going to be so fast and so volatile and further reaching than we can ever imagine. They'll affect every single person on earth. and we'll be required to make decisions that none of us have ever thought about. What they are, we don't know, but we are harnessing such innovation and technology at such a rapid rate. You know, the democratization of the world, everything's available to everybody. You know, you used to think that you know, you had to keep all the stuff up in your head, and we did back when I was younger. I mean, I was a former athlete, and you know, with my friends, we used to always talk about sports and stats and stuff like now, stuff like that. And you know, in the past, we've been able to ask Google to validate, and now, you know, who knows how we can do it? I mean, you know, we may have implants in our brains. You know, the Google glasses, and I've had the chance to play with Apple Vision Pro, and if you haven't, that's something you should play around with. Um,
Mhm.
so the technology is really fast, and it's growing at such a rapid rate. You know, my wife Susie is a big fan of Hamilton. She's seen the show, I think, 4 times. They're coming back to Gamage right now. So Gamage is at ASU, and that's a big theater here in the Phoenix metropolitan area where we see a lot of Broadway shows. And you
Mhm.
know, if have you seen Hamilton?
No, no.
Right. So there's a line, and listeners may have seen the show, and there's a line from the Schuller sisters, and they sing this chorus, and it says, look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. And I got to tell you, Ruby, we are so lucky to be alive. Things are happening at such a rapid rate. It is scary. I mean, and it's scary only in the sense that we know we have a caregiver shortage. And we know that what is really pushing at that caregiver shortage is that we're not growing as a country anymore. You know, in order to keep our population at 335 million people in the United States, every female childbearing citizen of our country should have 2.1 kids. I mean, it's all about math, right? We need to
Yeah.
have 2.1 kids to sustain our population. We're at 1.7, declining to 1.6.
Oh,
So it is going to be challenging for us. And how are we going to get through this? Well, one, we can't force people to have babies.
yeah.
That's we can't do that. And we can do something about immigration. And immigration should not be a bad word. We have such great caring nations out there. And all you have to do is look at some of the caregiver pools in various regions of our country. You go to New York, you go to Connecticut, you see a lot of people from West Africa, whether they be from Ghana, you know, and here in our country or our state, we see a lot of Filipinos and a lot of Romanians, a lot of people from Tonga. I mean, these are caring nations. They love caring for other humans. Why can't we open up the borders and give them visas? In Canada, they give them 8-year visas. That's what I was told. So, I mean, you're in a great place. I mean, here, you know, we're not even giving visas right now because
Yeah.
of immigration. So we got to solve for that. Um, I really believe in intergenerational living, and I think we're going to see more of that. Culturally, there are a lot of groups out there that care for their own. You know, I can specifically talk about the Hispanic culture because we have a large Hispanic population here. I've been at the helm of my company for 20 years. I can't even count on one hand how many Hispanic clients I've had. I can't count on one. Now, over a third of my caregiving pool is Hispanic, but my clients aren't. And it's not because they can't afford. I just want to go on record saying that because we have a lot of wealthy Hispanics that live here in Phoenix, and they're great citizens, and they're very philanthropic, and they've helped build our community. But guess what? They care for their own. They
Oh.
care for their own, their children, their grandchildren, the nieces and
Mm.
nephews. Everyone pitches in. And
Yeah.
you know, the Home Care Association of America did a study, and it came out in the Home Care Report back in 2017, I think it was. The average distance of an adult child from their parent is 280 miles. So knowing that makes it really difficult. I see a world where we're going to see exactly what we did in the last century, back in post World War II, post World War I, where you're going to see parents, grandparents move in with grandchildren and parents. I mean, you're going to see intergenerational living. It's the only way we can make this thing work.
Right.
We also can see or create more village concepts where we can share the care. So I really, I think these next 30 years are going to really be dramatic in terms of the way we care for our elderly.
It's going to change. Yeah.
It is going to change. And, I really think that, we're going to be viewed as a country on how we cared for our most vulnerable. And I'm talking about the disabled, frail, and aging. And hopefully it'll be through a very positive lens that we were able to do so. I'm not so positive right now. There's so many people, Ruby, because the cost of our services are up 40 to 50%. 40 to 50%. At Cypress Home Care, we were one of the highest priced home care agencies in 2019 at $27 an hour. And we're averaging about 40 now. And it's hard because the cost of labor, which 2019, our average was somewhere between $13.75 and $14 an hour. We're north of $20 an hour because Chick-fil-A is paying $20 an hour. So how do we make it work? So we have to use technology. We have to open up immigration. And we have to count on families to really pull together in intergenerational living. And we have to create more villages, and we have to really be intentional on the way we deliver care. So I'm optimistic. I think we're going to pull this together.
Absolutely. Yes.
But it's going to be a great ride, and what a great time to be alive right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is.
Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing these great insights with our audience.
Well, thank you, Ruby, for the invitation. Make it a great day. Have a great rest of the week. And I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you here today.
Thank you so much.